it's my nature. I don't. I just want to do the next painting, and I like to sell paintings because they finance the next painting. That's the way I'm able to do the next one.
Food on the table.
Right.
When did you first, Joe? When did you first become aware of your love for
You don't
layer
have to worry about that.
for art?
No more.
Early on, very early.
I mean, young or teenage.
Yeah, around 12.
That's
or
great.
so.
That's wonderful.
And I knew I wanted, I knew nothing about
Most people.
what, what opportunities there were. But I knew I liked to paint.
Right.
And my parents,
Something in your heart.
right,
You had the talent
and my parents always encouraged me. They never said anything negative, so I never heard that.
It's wonderful. Not everybody can pursue a life's love.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, I feel very
Since
fortunate
we introduced the so-called
for you. This is Long Island. But you'll see a lot of paintings in here involve Block Island, which I've been going out to Block Island for 25 years, and I just fell in love with the place. Other people will go out there and see nothing, and it's a very personal thing. But I just love the landscape and the rolling hills and the way the architecture sticks out. So this is a Block Island scene. This is in front of one of the old hotels. Actually, that shuffleboard court's not there anymore.
What year was that painted?
This is 87. It doesn't quite seem right.
I was going to say that.
It doesn't quite seem right because it seems like it should be earlier than that, because this was near the Spring House, if anybody knows Block Island, and at some point a lot of things were changed there. It could have been 87. Now, you also have, like I said, I work with photographs, so photographs isn't taken at all times of the painting done in 87. And this is also a house on Block Island, on the west shore of the island. Anyhow, yeah, again, this is also Block Island. I have a publisher in New York that has done a series of posters, and every poster he does he likes chairs. So, everybody thinks that's all I paint. Chairs.
Stunning. Absolutely stunning.
Thank you. Again, I'm still putting on the paint and scraping off here. However, you begin to see you see more opaque paint in here.
You look
As
intently
time
and you see
goes.
the enormous amount of change in color within the square inch. That's terrific.
Thank you. Questions?
That city
I
state?
started showing in Soho. The gallery that I started doing business with was up on Madison Avenue. And then they moved down to Soho. I forgot what year. It had to be around this time. Mid-80s. And then I started to explore down there, the architecture that I found fascinating, really. There's so many interesting things going on down there. And I did a whole series of city pieces at the time, in the late 80s. And this is one of them. This still life, this is 1986. I consider this one of my more successful still lifes. You asked me if I had a favorite. I like this painting, more than some other.
We don't do
still
it.
lifes.
We don't do it.
Thank you. Again, it happened, again, this painting didn't take that long. It just came together very nicely. And when that happens, that doesn't happen all the time. Sometimes you agonize over things and beat them to death. But this one came very, very naturally and quickly. Now here we're getting into, you notice the paint is put on a lot heavier here. And I'm getting up that transparent technique. And I finally realized when you put on heavy paint, it reflects light better. In other words, you can get a feeling of light if you build up your lights thicker and you keep your darks on the thin side. So this sort of signifies when I really got into the landscape and I did a whole series of just straight landscapes.
Is that in Port Jeff?
No, that's in Stony Brook, near the Stony Brook grist mill. And then I had an odd notion with the landscapes. I was trying to do, sounds odd, but I was trying to do away with subject matter. In other words, I wasn't putting an object into the scene. I was just sort of painting a pattern. It was more of a pattern painting. And this is one example. So now this fence is right on Harbor Road. This is right up this painting was done right up the road from this painting. It was in a friend's front yard. And I got into the gate. Another thing, the gate aspect of things. It sort of keeps you out of the painting, but in a sense it lets you in because you're fighting your way. You try to look into the painting. So I think it adds a little bit of tension. Now here's another, I guess we call it another anomaly. It's my daughter Anna. And again, I just like the abstract quality of the pattern here. And that's what appealed to me. It wasn't so much the fact that it was her. It was just sort of the arrangement of shapes. Rock patterns on shorelines. And this is one example.
Joe?
Yeah.
I can call you that. When you paint something like that, where you get the illusion of wet rocks, you actually move closer and back away from the painting as you're doing it to see how it looks in the distance.
Oh, you have to do that constantly. Yeah. That's the first thing they try to teach you, and that's to step back every once in a while. And even work with a long-handled brush. A lot of artists work with very long-handled brush so they can keep the distance. Because when you're up close to say, you're working this close, you can't see what the whole thing looks like. Again, I'm not, here it was the pattern, this bold pattern with the white foam. If that water had been dark, or if I made it dark, I wouldn't be interested in it. I just like the shape against that white foam.
What is your thinking
When you look through,
like the bed over there?
right?
Did you walk into a bedroom and say, this is going to make a picture, or did you take that saying, I'm going to make a picture of it?
No,
How does one think that way?
you see things and then you photograph them, and in many different ways in order to get enough information in order to be able to work in the studio from them. I even take overexposed shots of. Usually you see something and then you get the reference on it.
Is the camera really special one, or you still?
No, it's just ordinary. Well, I've always had a no. It's interesting. I always say, I painted these rocks because I thought they would make a good paint. They made sense to me. This is sort of an intuitive thing. Yeah. And it doesn't make sense as a painting. Anybody, I could sit down and render anything, but that doesn't make it a painting. In fact, that's one reason why I've never been able to really make a painting out of a human face. People like Alex Katz and Philip Pearlstein, they make beautiful art from the figure and the body, but I just don't see it that way. I see other things, If I saw it, when I say this, the term decision, crane neck point. And I thought this painting, as Deborah and I looked through all the slides of paintings and things, I like this only because it added some variety, and it's more dramatic. It's a little more natural than some of the other things, in a way. And so I thought it would make a good addition to the show. These, of course, are ice boats. Well, I was corrected, actually. Someone told me these are not ice boats. They're scooters. And, on the South Shore, over near Belport, they ice boat. Whenever the Great South Bay is frozen, they ice boat over there. And I've been floating in there, in a way. And that's what attracted me. This painting this is the one that came in that is different than the reproduction in the book. The reproduction in the book, this whole frame is blue, that color. And what I decided to do was repaint it white in order to just bring it out some more, give it some more depth. But it came as a big surprise when the painting came in. I mean, because I had totally forgotten that I reworked it.
Question.
Yeah.
Could you give us some idea of the technique you used to capture that effect of that screening? I can't conceive how you might do that, get it so realistic.
It's sort of like painting glass, it's very, it appears very elusive, but it's really not. I've had people ask me questions like, well, when you paint glass, do you paint what's behind it first, and then the glass in front? And of course you don't do that. I look at things as shapes, and when you put the shapes together in the proper order, and the proper value, and the proper color, they simply come out looking that way. I want to get that effect, that muted effect, so I paint it as I see it. And then I do add a little texture. As you see here, this is some texture of the screening on top of that. But basically, the values and the color are already there. The texture is just, trimming.
I thought maybe you applied a wash over that.
No, there's no secret. It's just, Sheriff Porter said, you put the blue where the blue belongs, and the red where the red belongs, and the green where that's what's his explanation of painting. Again, still life. I consider this as a successful still life. This is almost bigger than life size, right? Well, pumpkins are about the proper size. But again, the lighting, always the light. The light is also what attracts me in a subject matter. And it's what I look for. And then like I said, all these paintings represent, a series of paintings. This series, I did a whole series of gas pumps. Now, I got involved with gas pumps. I don't exactly know why. They're very strong subject matter. I always like these white ones because they're almost like ghosts, in a landscape. And it does have a surreal quality to it. You never know what's going to happen with a painting. When you start a painting, the end result never matches what your mind's eye can envision. So it's really what keeps it interesting. I have a good idea of what I want to do, but it still comes out differently. And sometimes it's a nice surprise. Sometimes it's not. This was a nice surprise.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
I noticed over there on your large canvas there, there's a chair. Is that the one chair that you did a large picture of at one time?
I don't think so. That's no.
Same, very similar.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, they're all, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You're thinking of one of the posters.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it wasn't in that situation. In South Hole, on Long Island. And again, it's the pattern. It's the light that appealed to me. And as you asked before, how do you get that feeling of screen? Well, this is very simple. There's a little bit of texture here, but you're just painting those values and colors that appear there that make it look like a screen.
No, I don't want to do it.
Right. There's no right. There's no other way of, there's no trick. This again is Block Island. This is the spring house out on Block Island. Okay, let's move down around here. Well, it's Prince Street.
Right.
Yep. Which is, that's Soho. To give me something that I like. And here I was fooling with the color. I changed the colors around to
The fire escapes were not green?
no.
Right.
No, they weren't.
Country to it.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, actually.
Well, you're fooling around with compliments, the
Yeah.
green and the orange, and I just wanted to see what would happen.
Is that what you did with the chairs too over here?
making it a green chair.
I sort of regret that chair being
Why? Oh, I love it.
You know what I don't like about it?
What?
I don't like about it because it's the same color that appears in the sky.
Yeah, but it's centralized. I kind of like it.
Um,
I'm one for odd man out, and I kind of like the idea of the one chair being a completely different
well, it
color.
could be a completely different color, but it could be another color other than that green. Either that or change the sky. Get rid of that blue green in the sky. Again, that's Block Island. That's the spring house porch. Now again, I did a whole series of road signs at one point. And really, this is probably the only example, I think. Well, no, there are others that include road signs. But sometimes the road signs would be very central to the painting. And they usually appear, in a landscape like this. Because the whole painting revolves around that sign.
It does.
I wouldn't have painted it had the sign not been there.
Right in the center.
Yeah.
Pretty
Most
beautiful.
Coliseum came by, and I sort of liked the painting, which she convinced me to unearth it, and I reworked it.
Well,
The
different
window-
from what you normally do.
Yeah, the window is totally different, so I repainted. I wasn't happy with the window at all, and I wanted to give the impression if we were on the second floor, seeing the tops of trees. So I reworked the thing, and I took it to Boston and sold it in Boston. But it would still be in my closet had she not spotted it. But again, it's just a bad at home.
On loan.
Which, yeah, all the paintings here are basically on loan.
Well, let's get started. This is your bed?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Move on, Joe.
No more questions. This is, of course, the Suffolk Theater out in Riverhead. To tell you the truth, I haven't seen it in a very long time. I think they're converting it into an art center or something. Now, this almost borders on photorealism in a way. A little different than that, but it's just something, again, it's something that struck me. The color is quite accurate as to what it was. And it just had to be painted. Simple as that.
Most of them from photos.
A lot of things I do in the studio from photos and sketches.
That you took.
Right. Right.
Okay, so you didn't sit in front of this place?
No. It's really, with a large painting, it's really impossible. Now, with the easel over there, that's my easel on Black Island. You'll see the painting to the right is in the painting to the left. So that's how I about twice. Largest painting I've ever done outside is maybe twice the size of the painting you see there. And again, I look at them as studies.
How long did it take you to do that study?
Usually about 2 hours. I try to do that when we go on vacation.
The light changes, so
Right.
you're right.
Right. Doorway. Then I got into a whole series of swimming pool pieces. I took a trip upstate with a friend of mine, and you have a lot of the old resorts up there that are abandoned. Some are welfare hotels now, and the pools are sort of run down. And I always, in the book I mentioned, I saw the movie The Swimmer with Burt Lancaster ages ago, and it really left a strong image with me all these years. Especially when he ran across the empty pool. He's swimming across the county, and he runs into this empty swimming pool, and it was very haunting, So when I saw the empty swimming pool, I said, this is it. This is the same kind of feeling.
Now, when you said you did a series of 10, 15 paintings?
I'd say 10 to 15.
That's what you did.
Yeah. Not necessarily. In fact, well, there were a couple in the snow. Most of them were without snow. But every time I saw an interesting swimming pool.
I have a question. This light green color that you use in a lot of the paintings, is it a response to the red that you got interested in? And also, why do you think green is a difficult color to use?
Well,
just like this light green for itself.
I have to say I like it for itself. You know, the turquoise, the green, something about it I like. Green in general, green in the landscape, of course, is totally different green. And it's very difficult. There are so many different greens that appear. You know, you got your cool greens, your warm greens, and it just seems to be difficult for me to work with. You know, I've experimented a lot.
A lot of ours.
Yeah.
Green is tough.
Yeah.
It bleeds.
Yeah. And I got hooked on, I got, you know, you go through different phases. I was using phthalo green, and then I was putting, the phthalo is so strong. Yeah. But that's what I liked about it. Then you could put anything in it, you know, to modify it. You could put all different kinds of colors in it. You know,
Let's get green on the net here too.
right. Right. But I find green most difficult in the landscape. Not in something like this or that, but when you have groups of trees, things like that. It's very, and then to give, you know, trees form, since green is a dark color, it's very subtle. You know, it's not a real contrast when light falls on a dark green foliage. So in that sense, it's